What is going on, beautiful people? My name is BetSam, and we've just gone from UFC 313 pay-per-view, but we're flying now back to the Apex. We have Marvin Vettori taking on Roman Dolidze. But hey, they're making up with it with 13 fights. So let's break into this full card prediction, breakdown, and more. And before I do, if you want to tell my bets and more, sign up using the link in the description. We want picks. Become a premium member today. It's only $10. And if you use code BetSam, you'll get 10% off your first purchase. Let's get into the breakdown. First off, we have Eunice DeBen taking on Carly Judas. And honestly, guys, I think this fight is very wide. Look, Eunice DeBen, you watch her tape, she looks terrible. And I mean that. Like, I'm not roasting her. You watch it, she's beating up cans and sideways clown type freaking promotions. But then she goes out there, smokes Shannon Clark. And Shannon Clark, she's a very middle of the road, lower tier, middle of the road fighter. So we sort of know where she's at. This chick can crack. She comes out. She's aggressive. She's undefeated. And now she's in the UFC. So what does that look like? I personally like to think that people improve when they come into the UFC. I don't know why it would be any different for Eunice DeBen. Obviously, you could say there's a step up in competition here, but Carly Judas ain't all that, man. I mean, 3-2. She's had some UFC level fights, but hasn't won any. Carly Judas here, I don't think she deserves to be this big of a favorite. I don't understand why she is. And the odds are closing. There is public money coming in on Eunice DeBen. And I just might be pushing that narrative as well because while, you want to pick Carly Judas, she's the big favorite. She's got UFC experience. I really think that DeBen can upset here. And more importantly, I think she can win a round. So my American homies, bet the plus 3.5. I think it hits. I could see DeBen winning the first round just based off aggression alone. I think she's going to be the one pushing forward, trying to land damage, swinging big, making things happen. As for my official pick, I'm going to go Eunice DeBen here. Give me the huge underdog to get it done over Carly. I just really am not impressed with her. So we're going to move on. This is a low-level women's fight. Then we have Josiane Nunes taking on Priscilla Cachoeira. And I honestly didn't think I was going to play any action on this fight. I hadn't really intended to. Josiane Nunes, not exactly a high-level girl herself. Priscilla Cachoeira, a human punching bag, She calls herself Zombie Girl now. She's a bag of meat that's getting beat up by everybody. And honestly, 12-6, her record should be 11-7. She fought, I believe it was Ji Yeon Kim, a Korean fighter, and she got pieced up the entire fight. But she was moving forward. And even though she landed some cuts, due to some elbows on Ji Yeon Kim, I think that she got pieced up. Her entire face was swelling and bruised and battered. And I think she ate way more damage. But sometimes, UBC, freaking Ultimate Bleeding Championship. So Priscilla Cachoeira, I'm super low on her. She's coming off a bunch of losses, 36 years old. Even though she's obviously going to be significantly taller because Josiane Nunes is an absolute dwarf. I mean, she climbed out of the mountain of Mordor. That's a Lord of the Rings reference if you don't know. And, she's freaking one of the dwarves there coming out to rule the roost. But Josiane Nunes, she's a legit fighter. She can stand and strike. She's got power in both of her hands, bunch of knockout wins. I think she can defeat Priscilla Cachoeira, and I wouldn't be surprised if she found a late finish. So I'm going Josiane Nunes. I'm pretty confident in it because Priscilla Cachoeira really has nothing to offer other than toughness. And at this age, her cardio is not even going to look that good. So give me Josiane Nunes to win this fight, either by unanimous decision or a late TKO victory. Then we have Daniel Barres versus Andre Lima. And this is one of those fights where Daniel Barres, he's kind of one of those guys. He's coming off a win over Victor Altamirano, but he's not exactly high level. And then Andre Lima, he's 10-0, undefeated, 26 years old. He's got a lot of the things that I like, but I haven't been overly impressed with him in his performances. So at minus 350, I would say the value is on the underdog here, but I'm still going to go Andre Lima to win this fight by decision. I think he's going to be able to do enough to win a pretty comfortable decision here. Unless Daniel Barres is able to get the hands going with the boxing combinations and put the pressure on Andre Lima early, I think that Andre Lima will run away with this fight. So I'm going to go Andre Lima to win this fight by decision, low confidence though. Then we have Stephanie Luciano taking on Sam Hughes. And a lot of people were reaching out to me going, hey, Sam, are you taking Sam this week to win? And the reality is I'm not. Sam Hughes is a girl that is tough, has decent cardio, and she goes out there and wins some fights. She's 9-6. I don't even think she should have 9 victories. Victoria Dudikova, even though she gassed, I thought that she beat Sam Hughes in that fight. Arguable. I'm not going to die on that hill. Stephanie Luciano, though, she looked very much improved in her last outing, and she avenged her one and only loss against Dolidze Alencar. So I think that the future is bright for this young girl. I think that she's going to be able to give a good account of herself, and she should be able to win, more than half the fight. I think that the optics early, especially for Stephanie Luciano, she's going to have the speed. She's going to be able to piece Sam Hughes up on the feet. I'm going to go Stephanie Luciano here. I think she wins this fight 30-27. Then we have Josias Musasa taking on Carlos Vera. And this dude is from Congo. He is dark and 5'8", 26 years old. He has ridiculous power for bantamweight. You can see it in the way he throws. Very powerful individual. But even though he has all that muscle, you can see that he still has energy late in his fights. It was showcased in his last outing. And Carlos Vera, 37 years old, his best thing he's done lately is not getting finished by Rinya Nakamura. I mean, it is what it is. Carlos Vera, the odds seem a little wide because he has that grappling upside, but 37 years old, the athleticism difference is going to be wild. So I'm going to take Josias Musasa. I think he finds a finish here, probably by ground and pound in round 2 or 3, because I think the athleticism gap here is just going to be huge. And even though Josias Musasa, I don't believe has come over to the United States yet, I think he should be able to handle somebody like Carlos Vera in the later stages of his career. Then we have Su Young Yu taking on AJ Cunningham. This is a fight where I would say the odds are ridiculously wide. And I'll tell you why. It's because Su Young Yu is from Korea, He's been fighting over in the Asian circuit. We've already seen so many times. These people come over here, and it's different when they get over here. And AJ Cunningham, while he has proved that he is not UFC level, Su Young Yu has also not proved to anybody that he's UFC level. AJ Cunningham has been smoking the US regional scene. So why would he not be able to contend here? I'm not certain that he won't be able to. This matchup for AJ Cunningham, I really do believe that he is live here as an underdog. I personally am going to lean slightly towards Su Young Yu because I think his activity is better, and I've seen AJ Cunningham fade in fights later on. So the style here of Su Young Yu, just shooting a lot of takedowns, could definitely be advantageous for him in this style of matchup and draining the gas tank of AJ Cunningham. But because of this price, I will be putting my money absolutely nowhere near him, and I might even play something on AJ Cunningham. I haven't locked in on that one yet, but I'm going to be going Su Young Yu, super low confidence on that one. Then we have Waldo Cortez Acosta, the Salsa boy, taking on Ryan Superman Spann. Listen, I actually enjoy Ryan Superman Spann. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's because he's big. Maybe it's because he's a finisher. I quite like the dude. I like the way he fights. And as a fan, I really get into it. That being said, this dude is a finish or get finished type of fighter. Ryan Spann never cleaned up his striking to a point where it's become impressive. And I think, some people are talking about lighter man skill because he's coming up now to heavyweight. But Waldo Cortez Acosta, he's fast on his feet, man. This dude, he's got a pretty impressive jab. He can throw very powerful punches as well. And I actually think that Waldo Cortez Acosta is live himself here for a knockout. I think that Ryan Spann thinks he's coming up here to have an advantage, not have to make that weight cut and all the rest of it. But I think Waldo Cortez Acosta is going to catch a body here, man. Ryan Spann is coming off of a win over OSP, and OSP is old and absolutely past it. It's a very different matchup here. He's stepping in against Waldo Cortez Acosta. I think Cortez Acosta gets back to finishing ways, finds a round 2 or 3 KO from accumulation of damage against Ryan Spann. Then we've got Sung Woo Choi taking on Kevin Vallejos. And listen, guys, if you haven't already seen it, go watch the Slam of the Week video right now. Put a lot of effort into that video. Kevin Vallejos is the Slam of the Week. I am playing him inside the distance. I'm very happy to say that I believe it's going to happen. I believe in my heart and soul that Kevin Vallejos is going to walk across this octagon and he's going to unload 3 to 5 punch combinations. He's going to hunt to the body, hunt upstairs, and Sung Woo Choi, once he gets clipped, is going to come forward with reckless abandon with his hooks like he has done against Josh Kulabau, against Steve Garcia, against Michael Trezano. We've seen it time and time again. When this dude gets cracked, he does the wrong thing. He doesn't look to grapple. He doesn't look to create space. He comes forward with reckless abandon, and he gets dropped and finished most of the time. So I think Kevin Vallejos finds a round 1 KO here. I'm not surprised that the odds are as wide as they are. I think this dude is the truth. Other than the fact of him being a little bit short for the division, I think he's absolutely perfect, and I'm excited to see him bust into the UFC scene. 23 years old. The future is bright for Kevin Vallejos. It's actually Vallejos, I've been told by my Argentinian coworkers, so I need to start saying Vallejos. Yeah, Shout out to you, Franco, brother. Anyway, we've got Daya Nurgazai taking on Brinson Ribeiro. Nurgazai, Kazakh guy, he's coming in here, a lot of hype, good Dana White's Contender Series showing, taking on Brinson Ribeiro, who ultimately, he's a good striker, but hasn't really showcased much else. I think the odds here are wide, and I'll tell you why. Brinson Ribeiro, while I think he's an incredibly beatable guy, Daya Nurgazai doesn't exactly strike me with the X factor that I'd like him to have. He seems like an okay striker, a decent grappler, but nothing is super fast, nothing is super polished. Big guy, not entirely tested here, and Brinson Ribeiro could be a little bit too much too soon. I'm still going to pick Daya Nurgazai here, but at $1.27, I think all of the juice has absolutely been squeezed out of this one, so I'm going to be leaving that one alone. Then we have Damon Blackshear taking on Cody Gibson. I am very, very high on Damon Blackshear in this spot. I think Cody Gibson is old, man. I watch him fight. He fights like an old guy. He doesn't look that good. He beats up other old guys. In this matchup here, he's taking on a young, hungry guy with a big gas tank who's only really lost to some pretty good fighters of recent. Damon Blackshear, he went toe-to-toe with Mario Batista. The pace he kept up with, and he showcased incredible submission savvy. I think Damon Blackshear is live here to find a submission. Otherwise, I think he's going to 30-27 Cody Gibson. I think he's going to drown him. I'm incredibly excited for Damon Blackshear in this spot. And as a whole, I just think that he can cook Cody Gibson in this matchup. Alexander Hernandez versus Kurt Holloway. It's tough. I wanna believe in Hernandez here, but betting Hernandez as a favorite against anybody, it's tough in today's modern age. The dude has very, very obviously struggled to put it together. He's been bouncing between weight classes. Now that he's back at lightweight, settling his feet in here, he should be able to win this matchup. But should is the key word in this sentence, because Kurt Holloway's a gamer, 38 years old. He's fought his way back to the UFC. He wants to be here. He's hungry for it. He's tough as well. I still think Alexander Hernandez got a little bit more athleticism. I think he's going to have a little bit more pop on his shots. One thing that I'm worried about, though, is Hernandez wears damage, and sometimes, he gets hit with equal amount of shots as he's landing, and his face is all blackened and bruised up. I worry about that because, obviously, that affects the judging criteria. Damage scored. If his face is battered, then they're going to be saying that he's losing. So Hernandez is the pick. I think he's the one that's more live for a finish, particularly a knockout as well, but I expect him to win this fight by decision. Then we have the co-main event time. We have Chidi Njokuani taking on Zaleski dos Santos. And I'll tell you right now, I'll be honest, I very, very nearly picked Zaleski dos Santos to be the Slam of the Week. I think that Zaleski dos Santos is a significantly more complete fighter. The only reason I didn't is the size factor. Chidi Njokuani coming down from middleweight, he's a big fella. He has a pretty high-level striking game, and he's got a lot of power. The reason that I'm still going to pick Zaleski dos Santos is I think he's got every other upside you can imagine. I think he's going to be better in the clinch. I think he's going to be better as far as submission capability, better takedowns if he wants to take it there. And I think that he also has better striking. He's just a little bit smaller, obviously a reach deficit here. So striking out at range, you're going to assume that Chidi is going to get the better of that. But I imagine Zaleski dos Santos is going to land a lot of leg kicks, land a kicks to the body, and he might even throw his signature spinning wheel kick, try and chase up Mauricio Ruffi versus Bobby Green style for one of those beautiful KOs. I'm taking Zaleski dos Santos. I think he takes Chidi Njokuani, the veteran school, and I think he wins this fight by unanimous decision. Then we have the main event of the evening and my personal underdog opportunity. I'm not going to mince words here. I'm going Roman Dolidze to win this fight. He's my underdog opportunity. Go check out that video. It's a beautiful video. We highlight last week's underdog opportunity. Shout out Magomed Ankalaev defeating Alex Pereira there. Marvin Vettori, listen, I think Vettori is on his way out of the UFC. And before anyone goes, he's 31, Dolidze is 36. Look at when these two got into the sport. Roman Dolidze making his pro debut in 2016. Marvin Vettori already in the UFC in 2016. So while he is younger, he's been going through it. And the way that this man fights, it's always his chin's up in the air. He's getting cracked. He's getting hit. He's eating damage in every single one of his fights, win or loss. And his fights often go long. So, this is a lot of cage time that he has spent in there. Marvin Vettori's a gamer, but I don't think we're getting the same version of him. He hasn't fought in almost 2 years. His shoulder's blown out, probably still not even fixed. I'm going Roman Dolidze here. I think he gets the grappling going as well. And out of the two of them, obviously, Roman Dolidze's got the finishing upside. So I don't really understand the line, and it's actually moving. So Roman Dolidze on my sportsbook has moved all the way up to a 2.35. I'd already done this slide by that time, but I'm going Roman Dolidze. That's going to be the full card breakdown. And last but not least, I do want to say, if you do want to tell my picks, my bets, my round line leans, and more, sign up to We Want Picks Premium using the link in the description. Code BetSam for 10% off. I will see you all at the cash counter.